IKAT, what's up?
Hello!
What's up?
Good to see you.
It's a pleasure to see you as well. How's it going?
Good, yeah, really good. I've been a bit nervous about doing my first live IGTV.
It's no big deal.
No.
So, introduce yourself.
Hi, okay, great. Hi, I'm Catherine. My business is Lucktaylor Ceramics, and I make hand-built raku-fied ceramics, and I'm based in England, UK.
All right.
I'm in far west Cornwall.
Okay. So, how was your day? What time is it there?
It's 3 o'clock.
PM.
PM. I got a bit confused with the time difference. So I'm 5 hours ahead of you.
Yes, yes, that is correct. 5 hours ahead.
Yeah. So I've had nearly a full day already.
What is life like with COVID there?
Well, it's very strange, like it is for everyone. Because where I live, I wouldn't say it's hit us as hard as some places, because I live in far west of England. It's like the furthest west you can go in England, and I'm right down near the bottom. So I'm near Land's End. You've probably heard of Land's End. So it's quite rural. So I think we've kind of avoided the worst of it in terms of the amount of cases. But it's been tough. Just, you know, the lockdown. We had lockdown, which we've only just kind of started to come out of. And all of a sudden we're getting a lot of visitors because it's a very touristy place, because everyone loves Cornwall because it's so beautiful. So if people aren't going abroad, they'll come down here. So it suddenly got very busy. And also obviously we're having to now wear face masks when we go into shops, and that I'm finding really difficult getting used to, you know, because it's really hard to kind of make connections with people when you've got like that mask on your face.
Let me tell you something. It's even harder to make a connection with a person if you're in the ground.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
have you all had more people like us fight against the mask that don't want to wear a mask?
Not in my experience, to be honest. Everywhere I go, I see people wearing them. Obviously, I'm only like in my little area, but yeah, I think there's only like a few people who aren't, but most people are complying. Yeah,
that's very good.
Yeah.
Right. So, you ready?
Ready? Yeah, ready.
So I'm going to start with some questions, and then we'll get into your journey.
Okay.
All right. If you had the chance to go to the moon, would you?
No. I love the Earth too much, and I'd be too scared that I'd never be able to get back again.
Do you travel much?
I have actually, yeah. I'm not as much as I'd like to, but when I was younger, I went to West Africa and Brazil. I got some funding from the Winston Churchill Memorial Trust, and I went on a creative journey. I went to Nigeria and Ghana, and my father's from Ghana, so that's kind of like my background. And I also went to the northeast of Brazil, and I was looking at traditional religion and art, and it was just incredible. It still inspires me today.
Very nice. So you are first generation.
Yeah, I don't know how you call it in America, but I'm mixed heritage. So my mother was white English, and my father is Black African from Ghana.
But you were born in England.
I was born in England.
Yeah, so you're first generation.
Yeah.
Meaning you're the first to go there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mixed is mixed. I was speaking about your nationality.
Right. Yeah.
So you're English.
Yeah.
First generation.
Yeah.
All right. What word or phrase do you overuse?
Oh, what word or phrase? Probably lovely.
Even when it's not.
Yeah. Oh, it's so lovely.
Yeah, you can use that. You can use that when it's bad.
Yeah.
That can be sarcastic.
Yeah.
What's your least favorite thing to do?
Cleaning the house. I hate cleaning. I want someone else to do it for me.
So is it the same way with your shop when you work?
I've actually got someone who helps me there. Yeah, I've got someone who... Yeah, I don't mind it so much there. It's... I don't know.
What is your most favorite thing to do?
Oh, swim in the sea, I think.
And you're close to it?
I am fairly close, yeah. Just a few miles.
Very
Half
nice.
a mile.
What would your spouse or significant other like to change about you?
Probably nothing, because I don't have one, so...
Okay, yeah. Right. What makes you tick?
Ooh. You know what? I get a lot of inspiration from my dreams. So I think like just sort of like being able to dream and get ideas and then head to my studio and pick up some clay. That's kind of what I love doing. That's what makes me tick.
Okay. What irks you the most?
I think injustice of any sort, kind of injustice. Yeah, I think. Cruelty, sort of, yeah, anything like that would hurt me the most.
Have you ever protested that?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
For the first time, I protested. Here there's things for whatever reason. There's things happening constantly.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people out protesting.
Yeah.
And one of the things that makes me emotional and touched to me is all of the non-Black people that are out fighting the fight with us. And I'm seeing these white people out protesting, angry, passionate. I am as well, but I'm not out on the front line. And there was a bike protest. 15,000 people in New York riding a bike.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, how much effort is that? So I thought about it and I did it. I did it for, I think, 4 weeks in a row.
Oh yeah.
And then I had to do work. But it was one of the most exhilarating, one of the most freeing things that I've done.
Fantastic.
Was have a cause and go fight for justice.
Yeah.
For the greater good.
Yeah.
To make the country better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that are those things that you mentioned irk me as well. And I was happy that I went out and I did. I'm not finished protesting, obviously, because the stuff that keeps going on. But the first step was the easiest. So that was pretty good. And plus it was a bike ride. It was like 20 miles. I was out of shape. So there was all these different things that pointed to, you need to get out there.
Yeah. No, it's a good feeling.
What sound makes you happiest?
What sound?
What sound?
Oh, I think that's a toss-up of birds singing and the sound of waves.
Two things you're close to.
Yeah.
Yeah, moving water is a pretty beautiful sound.
I love it, yeah. And I love it when you have like the river going down to the sea and that kind of the sound. And yeah, I love that.
Have you always lived near water?
Not always, no, but I've in my adult life, I have quite often. I lived in Brighton. Have you? I don't know if you've heard of Brighton.
I have.
Yeah, well, it's kind of that's right on the coast, and I kind of lived there for a long time, and it's right near the sea, which is amazing. And whenever I've lived inland, I've never felt quite right that I'm too far away from the sea. So I was in Oxford for a while, and that's really in the middle of the country. So that there's rivers, it's beautiful, there's still water, but it's just not quite the same as like that vast expanse of the ocean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how often do you swim?
Well, not as much as I'd like to, actually.
So you go down by the water with a cup of tea.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I mean, I do like getting in the water, and I don't mind if it's a bit cold, but I don't always go in. But...
Right. What sound bothers you the most?
Oh, the neighbours next door banging when they're doing their DIY. That really winds me up. I just love peace and quiet, you know.
You said that very fast.
It's because they're just doing it, you know, yesterday.
What profession other than your own would you like to try?
Oh wow. Oh, that's an interesting one. What profession? Oh, I don't know. That's really difficult, actually. I think I don't know, because I love making, so I think that, you know, it's always about the making. But I'd love to be good with wood. So I'm not at all. And you work with wood, don't you? And
Yeah.
I love wood, but it's just not my forte. So I think I'd love to be like...
Maybe you should go join your neighbors.
Yeah. Yes.
What would you like on your tombstone?
Ooh. Something about hang on. Something about that I brought joy and positivity to the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is it about your personality that drives your business?
Oh, I think I can get a bit obsessed. I'm a total workaholic. It's like once I get going, I find it really hard to stop. So I think that's kind of like once I get into something, I just like keep going and just get really inspired and kind of get lost in that kind of creative world.
Now I'm going to take a second here to refer to two comments. One is Scott's Mini Woodshop, who says you should try wood turning. And I hear that ceramics is the start of a wood turner.
Oh, really?
Yes. So if you want to get better with wood, maybe you should look into becoming a wood turner.
Yeah.
What is it about your personality that hinders your business?
I think I can lack confidence at times. I'm not as bad as I used to be, but I think, you know, that's kind of held me back in the past, is just like not having the confidence to put myself out there. I still have to really push myself out there.
Yeah, I think we all do.
Yeah.
For example, the gentleman Scott's, he has like 80,000 followers, and we were talking about him like, I'm just a regular guy. So yeah. I think we all are challenged with putting ourselves out there because it's kind of naked.
Yeah. Oh God, absolutely.
And yeah, people like to criticize.
Yeah.
So
I hate criticism.
So putting yourself out there is a necessary evil. You have to do it.
I know. It can be so difficult, though. I think that's one of the things that I've really learned. I think as I've got older, I've kind of got more comfortable with it. And it's just like, oh, you know, I've got to be able to do that and be able to put myself out there and market myself. And, you know, I think it's interesting because I used to have an American boyfriend, and he was an artist, and he was really good. because you lot are so much, so confident, and you are so good at kind of putting yourself out there, you know, where, you know, I'm very English and reserved and, you know, not very good at bigging myself up. But so he really helped me to kind of be able to, like, yeah, just go for it, you know? It's like, yeah.
Do you think that affects your pricing?
Pardon?
Do you think your lack of confidence, what used to be a lack of confidence, affected your pricing?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Even just from a couple of years ago, I think, you know, the sort of prices I was charging. I think having training in business has really helped with that. I've had a lot of support. I'm a member of the Design Trust, which is a British organisation. She's based in London, but they kind of work with makers worldwide, and they're really good at just kind of helping you to price your work and really look at it, the reality, when you look at how many hours and all the materials and all your overheads and just the reality of it. And I think I've got better at doing that. And also, I think just that the more confident you get when things do sell, the more you can kind of just start putting prices up a bit and just kind of try it and not get so serious about it. I think just kind of play with it in a way. I think that's helped me.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you were to travel cross country on a motorcycle, who would it be with?
Ooh. Oh, that's interesting. Well, I guess it'd have to be my son, but I'd have to have a little sidecar or something because he's only 12.
Okay. What was your favorite concert?
Favorite concert?
Yeah, concert.
Concert. Oh, wow. Oh, that's an interesting one. I think I'll have to go with when I was one of the sort of like early ones I ever went to when I was about 15. I went to see Hawkwind in Bradford, St. George's Hall, and that was pretty amazing.
So, what kind of music do you listen to?
It varies quite a lot, actually, depending on what mood I'm in. Recently, I've been kind of going back to some like music I used to listen to, like stuff like more Chiba and just kind of quite chill out sort of music.
So, do you listen to any rock?
I used to a lot, actually. I was really into it when I was younger. Like, you know, I was a big fan of things like Led Zeppelin.
Number one best rock band ever.
Yeah, absolutely. If I still hear it, I'm just like loving it, and it kind of just takes me right back. But yeah, I don't listen to it as much anymore. I should.
I still listen to it. I don't, and I say rock because I have a serious thing for Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh, really?
So I think when it comes to bands, it would be Led Zeppelin, Earth, Wind, and Fire, either one. Either one.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah. And what about 80s music?
80s?
Duran Duran, Aha,
Not
Boy
really.
George.
Not really my sort of thing. I would say I'd kind of rate Duran Duran, but I wouldn't really listen to them. Like, you know, I wouldn't put them on to listen to.
Yeah, I love them too.
Yeah, but I thought they were really good at their time. But yeah, I think I was kind of more into kind of alternative stuff in the 80s. So I don't know, things like William Orbit and I don't know, just stuff. Just it's not
how
mainstream.
How influential is American music there?
I think it's pretty influential. I think generally American stuff is quite influential over here, but I'd say, yeah, pretty much so.
So
yeah.
when you see what's happening in our country, what do you think about it?
You know what? It makes me really sad, actually. It makes me really, really sad. I think that you know, I feel lucky that I don't live there, to be honest. I
Now,
just think it looks really difficult, hard place to live.
10, 15 years ago, how did you feel about America?
Yeah, very different actually. That's interesting you say that, because you know I always like really wanted to go to America, and I always had the dream of kind of, you know, getting an RV and driving across the states. Yeah, I'd love to do something like that. But yeah, now I don't know if I would feel comfortable being there right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
When was the last time you cried?
Probably yesterday. I cry a lot.
Why'd you cry?
Well, I'm quite emotional. So, you know, I can be watching a film and I'll cry. I'll cry if I'm happy. I'll cry if I'm sad.
I cry a lot too. It's to me, it's just an emotion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like laughter.
I think it's important to release. Don't help bottle it up. It's got to come out.
Yeah. Work gets frustrating a lot. The day-to-day. And, you know, I cry, I let it out, and I move on.
That's good. Glad to hear it.
I don't ever do it publicly, though.
No, it's a bit embarrassing, isn't it? I know.
People may see that as a sign of weakness.
Yeah, especially in a man, I think they do. Yeah, it's harder if you're a man. And
Blacklumberjack can be walking around crying.
No way. Doesn't really go, does it?
What impact do you want to leave on your industry?
Oh wow, that's a big one. I think I want to. I don't know. I suppose I just want it to be more open to people of colour, to black women, and because we're not often seen in the kind of like crafts sphere. So I'd really like just to kind of open the way a bit more.
What did you think when I reached out to you?
I was really excited. I was just really stoked that you wanted to connect, and you were really good. And I just was really impressed with the work you've been doing and the connections you've made. And yeah, it felt really good actually.
Because part of me reaching out to you is because of that. You being a woman of color who's an artist, craft person.
Yeah.
When I first started this, it was the people I was closest with doing this.
Yeah.
And they're all white men.
Yeah. I know. I saw some of your interviews.
They're all white men. And I'm cool with them. I love them. But they're all white men.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing 20 conversations and it's all of my buddies, people are going to be like, what the hell? Does he know anyone else besides white men?
Yeah.
So that was the reason why I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe I need to mix it up a little bit. Because initially I thought me being on the other end makes it diverse. But it's not if I'm going through 20 people and they all look the same. Yeah. So I decided, you know, let me switch this up. Let's get a take on what other people experience, where other people are from. Because whatever it is you do or wherever it is you are in your business, that story identifies, or people identify, someone or people identify to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why I've gotten people who just started, people who've been doing it for years, to talk to them all.
That's brilliant. No, it's really inspiring. It's always interesting to hear about other people's journeys because everyone's so diverse and so different, aren't they? Like, yeah. And you know, and it's affected me so much. It's led to me moving my yard. Really? Yeah. Because I kept talking to guys who were there where I wanted to be, and I started out this way and I got lost. But the biggest thing is overhead. Yeah. Especially in the time that we're in now, when things sometimes get lean. Yeah. Because you got a heavy overhead, it doesn't get lean. Yeah. So I need to get better control of that and put myself in a better position to succeed. Yeah.
And my last yard was not the best place for that.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a large yard.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money, but it wasn't a place to sell because it was way, way in the back of a place.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It was close, but not easy to get to the materials.
So where are you now then? Are you closer?
So I'm moving. The yard is going to be 60 miles away, but it's going to be a completely different layout.
Okay.
So I can move product, do better business.
Excellent. So you can have people come to see what you're doing, and
yeah,
that's really
and what I'm going to try to do is build like a complex where there's 4 or 5 of us sharing a space, doing many different things.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yep.
And that kind of helps with the overheads as well, doesn't it? If you can share those costs, because it
share the
is
burden.
an expensive business being a maker.
It is, definitely.
You need equipment and space. Yeah.
And lots of both. What was the most difficult time in your business, and how did you overcome it?
Oh, that's interesting. I think the early days when I was just starting. I mean, I've been in this particular business for the last kind of 10, 12 years since I moved to Cornwall. And I think it was quite hard kind of moving to a new place and getting myself established, you know, finding space to work. And obviously I didn't have any equipment either. So I think that was kind of the hardest thing, was just being able to, because obviously I was working with ceramics, finding somewhere to fire my work. And I did eventually find someone. I went and took my work to be bisque fired somewhere, and I'll bring it back. I got a shed. I put a shed in my garden. It was the first thing I'd ever bought off eBay, was a shed. Put it in my garden. I made my own raku kilns out of a trash can, you'd say, lined with ceramic fibre, which still is one of my favourite kilns. I just keep making a new one. And just so I kind of had quite low overheads to start with, and just kind of started making it. I think that's the hardest thing, is like getting it going and getting the equipment you need. And I've just kind of built it up from there.
So as I'm talking about overhead, you just mentioned low overhead and how it helps you thrive.
Yeah.
How did you figure out how to build your own kiln?
Oh, well, actually, it's not. It's only for the glaze firing. I've got another kiln that I use for my bisque firing. I mean, it is possible, but I'm not that technically minded. But to do the raku, because raku is quite a fast way of firing, you can literally. I mean, I've got it on my. I've got a blog post about it on my website, but I just basically got a trash can dustbin, metal one, and just cut a hole in the top and a hole in the side, and I line it with ceramic fibre, and then you have a special raku burner which just kind of goes in at the bottom, and you've got a little kiln shelf, and then you can kind of like fire. So it's a really cheap way of being able to do raku. And easy, and it's quick, because you can raku fire something within about 30-40 minutes, so you can just kind of do a few firings each day, because you take it out with tongs when it's red hot, so you get that lovely crackle effect. Then you put it in sawdust. And actually, I wish I lived closer to you, because I bet you've got some awesome sawdust, so it would be great.
I do. I've lots, and I just throw it away.
Oh no, I need it.
Do you have any black friends?
Yes, I do, but not so much around here, actually. I do, but after they're quite sort of like at a distance. So I've got friends in Brighton. I've got a few friends here as well, yeah, but not so many.
Okay. Do you often see people of color in your industry?
Not masses, to be honest with you. Yeah, there's a few of us, but yeah, not loads.
Do you see them? Are they close to you at all, or you know them through Instagram?
More through kind of like Instagram. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Who would you most like to have a conversation with?
Ooh. You know, there's an amazing ceramicist. You might have heard of her, Magdalena Dundo. She's Kenyan. I think she's Kenyan, but she's based in England, and I just really admire her work. And I did actually meet her very briefly last year before. But I'd love to have a really good conversation with her about her making and process, and yeah.
All right, cool. Okay, so the questions are over. Now we can get into your journey.
Okay.
How? We can start from somewhere around high school, the jobs you've had, and the things that led to you doing what you do now.
Okay. So straight from school, when I was 16, I went and did a 2-year art and design foundation course. And that basically, I spent 2 years just trying different materials. I got quite into wood, but I wasn't very good at it. So yeah, ceramics, painting, graphics, all the things. And then from there, I found that when I first did my foundation and I made my first ever coil pot, I just could do it, and I just really connected with it. And for me, it felt like a real connection to my African ancestry, you know, and just kind of like working with clay and just kind of very close to the earth in a very traditional way. So I decided to do ceramics, and I did a degree. So I was in Yorkshire then, West Yorkshire. I went to Wolverhampton to do a degree in ceramics. So that was when I was kind of 18.
Wow. How long did that last?
That was 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah. That would undergraduate, I think you'd call it. Yeah.
So you studied ceramics for 3 years.
Yeah. And then, like, when I left college, because I was only 21 when I left college. So actually, I wish I don't like to have regrets, but in retrospect, I think it's better to kind of go when you're a bit older. I think you get more out of it. I just wanted to kind of like party and, you know.
But that's the wonderful thing about being in college when you're young. It is one big party.
Yeah. But, you know, I think, you know, if I'd have gone when I was older, I would have got a lot more out of it. Yes, so I came out of there, and yeah, I kind of tried to get into ceramics but obviously it's difficult at that point. I didn't have any money, you know, I didn't have any way of finding work. So it was very difficult at that point. And I didn't really know what direction to go in. I was working, I had a few I've only ever worked part-time. I've never been able to cope with full-time work because I've always had that creative urge within me. So, you know, I worked sort of jobs I've had back then. I worked with adults with learning disabilities. I worked as one of my best jobs was I worked as an arts therapies assistant. And basically we helped to set up art workshops. It was in an institution, but at that point in our country, a lot of people were like being enabled to go out and live in the community, but there was still a few people left in the hospital, and there was an arts therapies department, and I helped the therapists and also did sort of some general art workshops. So I've always kind of worked in the arts. And I also what else have I done? For a while I worked for the Arts Council in England, and it was an interesting project, you'd be interested in this, and it was called Decibel, and it was kind of really raising awareness of the Arts Council, which is like a funding body.
Okay, let me ask you.
Grants.
Something just came to my mind. When you worked at these different places for these art things, how many people of color were participating in this?
Well, this is the thing about what you mean in the Arts Council. Well, that was the whole point of our team. There was three of us. We were three women of colour, and we worked to actually go out. We did all these work, sort of like road shows around. We were in the southeast region of England, and we went round and we just basically were raising awareness of the Arts Council to other Black and minority ethnic people, sort of people of colour, artists of colour, and just basically saying, hey, look, the Arts Council is not just for white middle class artists, it's for you as well. And we supported their application process, and so that was a 3-year project, and that was really amazing actually. And I'm still friends with some of the people I met through that. Yeah, it was a really good project. Yeah. And so during this time when I've been working, I was always kind of doing my own creative practice as well, and it's not always been ceramics. I veered off in lots of different directions, and I was working in mixed media and installation and incorporating textiles and paintings, and also getting funding to put on projects. So this is all before I had a child, when I had time and energy, you know. And I got a grant to put on an exhibition. I worked with 2 other artists. It was called Sanctuary, and it was a really powerful exhibition. It was really powerful for me because, you know, I'd never kind of run a project like that before. I got a lot of funding from the Arts Council and from the local council as well. And we put on this big exhibition, and we had different workshops around it. And I just got a lot out of doing that. And I'd love to do more things like that, actually. That was 3 artists of colour. It was myself, a woman called Irene Mensa. Sadly, she's passed away now. But
what did she do?
She did, it's really hard to describe her work. She worked with installations, she worked with dance, and she made a beautiful dance film, and she also did like a lot of like drawing, kind of quite figurative, beautiful, interesting work. And Raphael Berrio, you'd love Raphael. He's a wood person.
Is he on Instagram?
You know what? I don't think he is. I don't think he's that techie. I'll have to get him on Instagram. He's still in Brighton, but he works a lot with wood he's reclaimed from the sea and then carves these amazing spirits. Yeah, he was really interesting. So yeah, so we worked really well together. I'd love to get him down to Cornwall to do a project. Yeah. So I love doing things like that, like working with other artists, and we're all kind of like drawing on our African heritage and kind of bringing that into the work, and that's something that's kind of coming back more for me recently, which has been interesting, and I'm really enjoying kind of exploring that part of me again.
Very nice. So how do you get back into ceramics?
Well, it was actually when I had my son. It was in 2007. It was almost like, you know, all of a sudden my time didn't have any, and I was just like, I just got really clear. It's like, what do I want to do with my time? And it just kept coming back to clay and to ceramics, and like my first love. And I just thought, yes, like, that's what I've got to do. And I was doing more sculptural things at that point. But to be honest with you, I found it harder to sell the sculptures at that time. And I really wanted to kind of like make a living from what I was making. And I started making these raku pots, and they just started selling. I got into galleries, and it just kind of expanded, and it's just been amazing, actually. Really, really good for me. So yeah, so I've kind of got 5 different galleries where I show my work at the moment. And it's interesting because when I first kind of moved down here, I was thinking, I'll try and get some funding, I'll try and do a project, and it just felt really, really hard. And someone just said to me, why don't you just make things and sell them, and then you can use that money to do the next thing? And I was like, oh yeah. It's like, oh, it's as easy or as difficult as that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay, how did you get started? I mean, how did you get into it? How did you get a shop? You said you bought a shed off of eBay.
Yeah, well, I did have that for a little while, but then I soon outgrew that. As my business was growing, I outgrew it, and I wanted to make bigger things. So a friend of mine, we were kind of working together, and she was given like this gas kiln. So look, I've still got it because she gave it to me when she left. so we got given a kiln, which really helped. So it meant I could do bigger things, and I could also use that for my bisque firing. So that kind of got me going. And then I moved into, where did I go?
Okay, so let me ask you, had she not given you that kiln, how much would it have cost?
Well, for a kiln like that, you're talking like, I don't know, maybe £1,000, 1,000 something pounds, 2,000 if it was new, maybe more. But I did buy a little electric kiln, which was £650, but that's only quite small. But I use that mainly for my bisque firings now. Yeah, so for a lovely new kiln, you're talking thousands. I've never had a totally new kiln. And I've always just made my raku kilns because that's kind of cheap and affordable, and just kind of makes it a bit more accessible. Because I was teaching as well, so that's another way I was kind of bringing in my income. I was teaching raku in my studio, so I've had a few different studios. I had a little studio. Somebody bought a hat, was living in this house, and they had like an old garage sort of bit, and I rented that for a little while. And then I moved into 4 or 5 years ago, I moved into the one I've got now, which is a big old cart shed, and it's on a farm. And yeah, and that's great because I've got loads of space. I've got space outside. I can be smoke and fiery, and nobody minds.
So, can we see your? Can we get a tour? Can we see your work?
I'm not there at the moment because my internet's not good down there, so I'm sorry.
No problem. Is there any work where you are that we can see? Or you don't have anything with you?
Oh yeah, I could actually show you something. Hang on, I'll get you. I've got a couple of pieces here. I've got my, let me see if I can show you. This is quite a big piece actually. Oh, this is one of my wild Cornwall pots.
Wow.
Now this is quite a big version. It's very heavy because I have to lift it out of the kiln when it's red hot, so I don't often make things that are this big.
Yeah,
but this is inspired by the Cornish hedgerows. So I've just I kind of impress the different flowers and things into the clay, and then I paint and splash all the glazes on. And they're quite popular, actually. I sell quite a few of those.
What would that sell for?
Huh?
How much would that be?
Oh, that's a big one. So that's about 750 or something. Okay. But I do like smaller ones. Can't see small ones. They start at like 95. So everything's hand built. I don't use a wheel. I hand built. So it's all coil and pinched, and I mix all my own glazes. So they kind of start, so around about that price. And then I make some that are about 200, and kind of like they go up from there.
Ah, so no wheel. So yeah, that's a lot more work.
Yeah, it is. Well, kind of is, but because I'm used to doing it, it's not for me because I can work fairly quickly, and I just love the meditative process of that. I think that's really important to me.
How many do you make in a week?
Oh God, it varies quite a lot actually. That is such a difficult question. I just think because this week I've been making some So I don't know. It depends on the size of them. I'm making some extra ones to go to a gallery at the moment. So I've got about how many? I've got about 8 or so on the go at the moment. But I have them at various different stages. So, you know, it can vary between 10, 15,
Okay.
something like
Where
that.
where would you like to be in a year?
Ooh, in a year. I'd like to be making, I'd love to have like a solo exhibition of my work. So with my sculptures and my pots, and I've been making these masks. I don't know if you've seen on my Instagram. I've got one in an exhibition at the moment. And I just would love to create something that creates a really interesting space and works with different pieces that kind of all come together. I'd love to do something like that. So, yeah.
Okay. What would you say your current shop is missing that you need to put you at the next step?
I think what I struggle a lot with is the fact that my studio is away from where I live, and I can't just pop out and you know, check on my pots and give them a bit of a spray because it's 7 miles down the road. You know, if I just want to go put the kiln on. So I find it really difficult having that separation and like not having my office at my studio, you know, because it's so damp. I can't keep paper or anything there, and I don't have any internet. So I'd love to kind of have it all a bit more together. I'd love to have a lovely house with, you know, my studio. I need a big studio, but just kind of down at the bottom of the garden.
Don't we all? I said, don't we all? I want
the
that
dream.
too.
The dream. Yeah.
We have a question. Is there any difference in structural stability making it on the wheel compared to making it by hand?
That's an interesting question, and I wouldn't say there was. It's just a different process of making. So, for instance, when I make things, I've got several pieces on the go, and I have to wait for the base to firm up before I can then add on more coils as I build it up. But if they're well made, then I would say they're pretty strong. Yeah.
Okay. What piece are you most proud of? Or is there a place that you're proud that your piece is, that your work is?
I think one of the things I'm most proud of recently is that I've lost track of time. I don't know if it was last year. I was invited to be in an exhibition in the new Ashgate Gallery in Farnham, and it was a really special show because it was all artists of colour, and it was curated by Rachel Otten-Lartis. Sorry if I've got your name wrong, but she was working there at the time, and she got all these 20 different artists together, and I was invited to be part of that. And so that was really, really amazing and really special, taking it to like Farnham, West Sussex, kind of very sort of like white middle class part of the country.
Green is green.
Yeah, so it was wonderful to be part of that. And I went up there. It's kind of miles from where I live. I've got a friend who lives kind of not too far from there, so I drove up from Cornwall for the opening, and it was just amazing. And I'm still kind of in contact with some of those people that I met there, which is
Very
really
nice.
great. Yeah.
Very good. Have I covered everything?
I think so, yeah. I don't know if anyone's got any questions.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions. So what's your plan for the rest of the day?
Well, my day's nearly over. It's 4 o'clock here. Actually, I'll tell you what I have been doing. I got some shelf units, so I'm probably going to go back to doing that. I've also got a commission I've been working on that I want to finish. I've been making some mugs, which is not my usual thing, so it's quite exciting to be doing something different. I need to put the handles on those, so I'll probably do that. Sorry?
How many mugs are you making?
Well, she's ordered 4, but I'm making 8, just to be sure, and just to try them out, because I think they're going to become a new line. So, yeah, it's nice to have some extras.
Yep, do it. Yeah, and you can take those 4 and see what they do.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really exciting, yeah. I love working to commission, actually. I get really inspired by it, and new things happen that would never have happened before, which I really like.
Very nice. Has there been anything you tried to do that you have not been successful at, that you're still working on? Whether it's a shape or a finish?
Let me think now. I think at the moment, I'm wanting to kind of introduce some new techniques. So I want to do some slip casting, which I've tried to make molds before and not always been successful with bigger pieces. So I'm kind of taking it back to basics, and just kind of giving that a go. So that's like a new area that I want to try. So that's quite exciting.
All right. Do you use local clay?
Sometimes I do, but actually the clay I really like using isn't particularly local, but it was kind of developed by a potter called Ashraf Hanna, and it's like a specialist raku clay. But what's interesting is that I've got someone who's going to be doing an internship with me starting in September for 3 months, and she's a lovely young woman called Chrissy, and she has just finished her HND. And when we had the conversation, she's like really good at research, and I'm thinking, ooh, yeah. So we were talking about like working with local clays, and you know, I do find it, and then I kind of leave it sitting in a bucket and never get around to doing anything with it. so that's kind of a really exciting project that we're going to get going. And I've also got another friend who's got some land not far from where I live. And she's really up for me going up and digging a pit and doing some pit firing. So I'm really excited to just kind of get back to basics. So that'll be a fun
Very nice.
Yeah.
Jeff, have you mixed seashells in with your clay?
Oh, no, I've never done that. That's a really nice idea, though. I think I'll give that one a try. Thanks.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff. Yeah.
So, Catherine, thank you very much. I appreciate your time and your energy and your efforts to come on with us.
It's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me, Robert.
Absolutely. You do great work. Best of luck to you.
Thank you very much.
And this will be on the page. It would also go to YouTube.
Fantastic.
And we do another young lady from Brooklyn at 6 p.m. So it's Ladies Wednesday.
Brilliant.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Good day.
Bye.